Washington, D.C., the nation's capital and 20th most populous city in the country. Noted as the home of American governmental power and policy, D.C. has also recently been distinguished for another reason. According to a study from the National Reinvestment Coalition, D.C. has had the highest intensity of gentrification of any city in the nation. Once affectionately nicknamed Chocolate City for its predominantly Black population, in recent decades the ethnic backgrounds of Washingtonians have drastically changed. According to the U.S. Census, 71% of D.C. residents were Black in 1970, compared to about 47% today. So what is the cause of these changes, and how have they impacted Black D.C. natives? Brittany Lee Lewis is a PhD candidate in the History Department at George Washington University. Lewis spoke about gentrification and its impact on Black and low-income communities.
Gentrification is a process of neighborhood change that includes economic change in historically disinvested neighborhood by means of real estate investment and new higher income residents moving in, as well as demographic change, not only in terms of income level, but also in terms of changes in the educational level or racial makeup of the residents. So a few things on the definition of gentrification. First off, the word itself is a bit problematic. It has its roots in the term gentry, which presumes that the people who are coming are the social or moral betters of the people who are already living there, the people who have the potential of being displaced. Perhaps the kind of ignorant arguments are, well, they weren't taking care of their neighborhood. There's a lot of crime that happens there. So, that's why, the government as well as the private sector is going to come in and, gentrify the area. But the issue here is that the reason why these inner city communities look the way that they do is because historically speaking, and over the last literal 20th century, inner city communities, urban communities, poor communities have been divested in. They literally have not been allowed to have that economic growth. And the only time that we're seeing that economic growth is when upper class individuals and individuals with money are deciding to come in. Overwhelmingly and disproportionately, unfortunately, those folks are not Black and brown. And when those things happen, we see that there's a new type of investment that's happening in the city. We'll see more shops pop up. We'll see grocery stores that are made available. All of the things that any community would want to have and benefit from. But the reality is, once we see those who have come from a higher background, have a different level of education coming in, housing prices also begin to rise. The taxes begin to rise.
Kenneth Matthews is a fourth-generation D.C. native. Matthews spoke about his experiences in the changing city.
The National Arboretum is where my neighborhood is actually located. So I know for a fact that the house we live in is actually my great grandparents' house. So when they bought this house, it was in the 60s. When I was younger, I saw people like us all over. As far as neighborhood, walking down the street, it was, us. And the people that did come in that weren't our color, they were touring, and they would come down here just to see the mall and stuff like that. Right across the street, now we have these new apartment buildings. You know how they're building up the new apartment buildings everywhere. And to build those, they're moving, the people out to buildings, because people that have always lived here now push more towards the border of PG County. Because everything that's been built up, it's been built up in the sense that it's not for the people that was already here. It's for the people that's coming and moving. So once the property value goes up in that area, now those people in those other apartments that have nothing to do with these new buildings, their rents getting, affected, and they already weren't been able to make, said ends meet. But the people would make the city, you know what I'm saying? Those same people still have to be a part of the said gentrification. We have to still be part and being native to our city without, being obstructed or pushed away.
Organizations like 8th Street Development Corporation say they exist to support community development and preserve affordable housing. According to Fox 5 DC, Mayor Muriel Bowser has said that creating affordable housing is a priority in her second term. In Washington, D.C., I'm Samantha Jill Anderson.